Izzati. So today I want to give a speech about I want you guys to stay here until the end to know what I am talking about, okay? So first of all, I want you guys to imagine that you are a 4-year-old kid and one day your teacher walked into a class and carrying a colorful picture book. She smiles and says, "Listen everyone, today we want to read one story. The story is like this. Once upon a time, there was a little rabbit who was afraid of making a new friends. Immediately, every child must be stopped talking, right? Their eyes are fixed on the teacher and they begin to imagine about the rabbit and what might happen next. Now, let me ask you one question. How many of you still remember a story of your teacher or your parent told you when you are a kid? Most of us probably remember at least one story, right? But why do we remember stories more than a fact? The answer is simple. Stories are connected with emotions, imagination, experience, and making a learning meaningful and memorable. So today, I will be talking about learning through storytelling in preschool. During this speaking, I will explain what storytelling is and why it is important. Also than that, I will also talk about how it benefits children's development and practical classroom example and why storytelling remains one of the most effective teaching methods in early childhood education. So, what exactly is learning through storytelling? Learning through storytelling is a teaching approach where teachers use stories to help children understand a concept, develop language, solve problems, and learn important values. Storytelling is much more than simply reading a book aloud. It involves using expressive voice, facial expression, body movement, picture, puppet, song, props, or even digital media to make the story come alive. Unlike traditional teaching where children mainly listen to explain, storytelling encourages children to actively participate. For example, the teacher may ask some questions such as, "What do you think will happen next? Why do you think the bear feels sad? And can everyone make a sound of rain?" So, instead of memorizing information, children become to learning experience. So, this is why storytelling is considered a child-centered learning approach which is strongly encouraged in early childhood education. Now let we explore why storytelling is so important in preschool. There are a few main reasons. Firstly, storytelling develops language and communication skills. Young children learning language by listening. When teachers tell stories, children hear a new vocabulary, different structure of sentences, and correct pronunciation. They also learn how conversation works. For example, after hearing a story about animal, children must begin use a new words such as hungry, brave, or eat during classroom discussion. Research consistently show that children who experience regular storytelling develop stronger vocab and better early literacy skill. So second is a storytelling develop thinking skills. So stories naturally encourage children to think. Instead of simply giving answer, stories invite children to predict what will happen next and analyze the problem. Imagine a student reading the Three Little Cats book, and teacher might ask, why did the first cat house fall down? So this question encourages critical thinking rather than memorizing facts, right? Children learn that there may be a different solution and to same problem. The third one is storytelling develop social and emotional skills. Stories allow children to understand emotion through different characters. For example, if a character feels lonely, frightened, excited, and disappointment, children must begin recognizing those same emotions in themselves and others. So this helps children develop empathy, so that the stories also teach important moral values like honesty, kindness, respect, and cooperation for kids. Instead of telling children why you must share your toys, teacher can tell a story where teacher can tell a story where sharing helps everyone become happier, so that children often learn values more effectively through story because they can relate the story with the character. And the fourth is storytelling encourage imagination and creativity. So stories transport children into imagination world. So after listening, children enjoy drawing a character, acting out the scene, building models, and creating a new ending. So this activity actually encourage creative thinking, communication, and confidence for children. So the creativity is also one of essential the skill, and storytelling help develop it naturally. So let me share a simple classroom example. Imagine a teacher want to teach a children about honesty. So instead of writing the word honesty, the teacher must be explain what it is mean. She tells the story about something that may be related. So here the story that I search is about the boy who cried wolf. During the story, she changed her voice for different character. She asked the children, should the village believe the boys? How will you feel if your friends lied to you? So after the story, the children work in group to act out different endings. So the kids finally can discuss why honesty is important. In the lesson, children are learning language, communication, creative thinking, teamwork, and more values, although one story. So with this story, children can know a thing just not by teacher give it directly to a student, and because of this, a student will remember more than if teacher just give to children, because when we read a story, we will remember it strongly, right? So this raises an interesting question. Why do many educators believe storytelling is more effective than simply explaining information? I believe there are a few reasons. So let me tell you a reason that I think. First, stories capture children's attention naturally. Second, stories connect learning with emotions, making information easier to remember. Like the example that I give just now about a story, so that when kids do a role and try to acting like that, so that they can know and get information easier and remember it in future. Third, stories encourage interaction instead of passive listening. So this can maybe a kid more excited to know what it is about. However, storytelling should not completely replace other teaching methods. Teachers should combine storytelling with a game, experiments, music, art, or a hands-on activity. So this might be so fun for kids, right? Because it's not just one what we call one learning experience. So although in other words, storytelling works best when it becomes a part of balancing teaching approach. So storytelling also has many advantages. Teacher may face challenge. Even the storytelling is fun to child. Some children have a short attention span. But others may be different language abilities. Some schools may have limited storytelling materials. So teacher can overcome these challenges by choosing age-appropriate stories, using puppet or picture, and involving children through movement and question, and even creating a simple storytelling material themselves. So these strategies might help children to know and to learn with storytelling, even though they might have a sound problem. Good storytelling also depends more on creativity than expensive resource. So this is mean how teacher do a storytelling by creativity is more important than using an expensive resource, because when kids know what they get, it is good and it can help a children more. So in conclusion, learning through storytelling is much more than reading books to children. It is a powerful teaching approach that supports children's language, cognitive, social emotion, and creative development. Through these meaningful stories, children not only gain knowledge, but also can develop values, confidence, and lifelong love for learning. So as a future childhood educators, we have the opportunity to create a memorable learning experience through the story we share. So that by making stories engaging, interactive, and meaningful, we can help children grow into confident, curious, and compassionate learners. This make the children can learn something better with storytelling if we do it by our creativity. So I think that's all from me, and I hope this might be help you guys to know what it is learning through storytelling in preschool about, and why it is important to we as future educators to know what is the best to do for our kids. So thank you for attention. That's all from me. Bye.